Hey guys, I'm Dallas and Header Smurf, and I'm with Chris. Let's bring that audio back up. Oh, hey Chris. There you go.
Hey, how you
Now
doing?
camera. I really should tie all these together so I can do it all at once, but
Yeah,
oh well.
yeah, it's easy.
Can only do some. Yeah, easy. Just boom, done. Um, at least the first time.
Yeah,
But how you doing today?
good. You?
Doing well. Um, Actually, I talked to a kid tried to talk to this younger kid. He's started saying something to me. I don't even catch what he said, but started walking right. I'm like, formalities, you know, hello, goodbye. I'm late. I'm late. I'm late. But that was kind of funny.
Yeah, formalities. That's an interesting. That's an interesting one.
Yeah, just trying to be like, hey, a greeting. Hey, how you doing today? You know,
Yeah,
trying to. Yeah. Oh, I'm doing good. I'm like, that's good. Good to hear. It's fun talking to kids sometimes. Doses. Being a parent is a whole nother thing.
yeah. It's all about the dosage. Just taking some of those strides. See what happens.
Yep, absolutely. And yeah, we were gonna talk about leadership and relationships a little bit, but oh, the air fan is really grabbing your mic.
Oh, okay. Is it? All right. Let's see here.
Uh, I'll put a little audio with it. It might help.
There we go.
All right,
All right.
but we were talking about leadership and stuff like that. How it puts a target on your back and titles, and uh, you have to be careful. I like call them hats. Different hats we wear. Um, and that brought me to the second thing that I really wanted to talk to you about is like knowing yourself. Um, and it's a real hard personal journey for everyone. And I think that's one of those fine lines is um, you want to help and conversate and share with people, but at the same time, you want to understand who you are and um, see how you can make little changes. It's really I don't know about my person, like what small is beautiful. Sometimes the smallest acts have the biggest uh, ramifications.
Yeah, that's one of the smallest things in life. Well, that's another thing too.
Oh,
Is that you gotta be careful not to offend people and stuff like that nowadays, and people are easily offended. So, you may not even mean anything, and then it comes back and bites you.
yeah, absolutely. And I think that's understanding. Like, I don't think anyone's the evil guy in their own story. Maybe took an idea a little bit too far or the wrong path. Really, the wrong path because there's some really dark stories out there. Um, but I don't think anyone's like the bad guy in their own story.
Yeah,
Um,
or the big bad wolf or anything like that.
yeah, absolutely.
I
Um,
think as sometimes as people we can depend view ourselves as the bad guy and try and come off as the bad guy in the story, or find somebody else to be the bad guy in the story rather than realizing the truth of the matter.
yep, absolutely. Um, and I think that's it too. Is like a lot of this stuff that we read about self growth. If you try to put it on someone else, it can be a very painful, hurtful thing to do to someone. Um, but you know, uh, you sh- it's that boundary and being able to share that space. And
Uh,
this
well,
audio is
yeah.
too loud.
Well, self growth can be helpful too. But you just have to do it in the right way. Like for when we do life coaching and stuff like that, you pretty much let them figure things out for themselves. But it's about helping them see what they want to do and everything and stuff like that, and directing them right.
Cool.
I mean that can be helpful, but I mean like, yeah.
Yeah. I like saying maybe looking at an imperfect mirror, because you can't really fully understand how anybody else sees you. Uh, you have your own views. It's um, if you have, and it gets down to the heart of the matter. What's going on. Uh,
Yeah, well, you know, a lot of different ways that it has been portrayed, like even if you look at it scripturally, Jesus said, those without sin, please cast the first stone.
yep, absolutely,
Mm.
absolutely, and a lot of it too is understanding nature and understanding, how if you work in particular fields, there's someone has to fire everyone, human resources and stuff like that. But it's how all the pieces work together, and if they work well together, you'll have a functioning well business or machine or whatever, you know. But if there's too much friction or
I think it's not
eh,
about somebody having to fire someone. I think if you're in human resources, the goal shouldn't be to fire. The goal should be to try and help them see their behavior and change their behavior in a helpful way. When you're working inside a company, human resources, you're in the perfect position to be helping others, because you see, like, okay, the boss says this about this person and they want to write up or whatever, so then you can help that person see how to make the right choice later on. Or even if you're hiring people, if they're applying for a job and you don't think they're a right fit for the job, maybe you can help them find the job that you think that they're a right fit for. It's all about how you look at it.
absolutely. And that's a self journey. I believe, like, it goes through. If you take time, like, we're all busy trying to survive and do different things that we care about, and though we may lose and understanding and be frustrated because our whys did not match with what things are going on, you know. Um, but it's how you understand yourself, and most of the decisions we've already made. We know who we are. It's just understanding why, you can actually make a difference and make a change. It's small. It's really small, but
Yeah, like me, I have like multiple different hats I wear inside leadership. Like I have the church, but then I don't just have the church. I'm also self-employed, so I have my business, and then I also have my family. So there's different ways of doing things inside of leadership too. So I think it's about how you look at the picture. And because I can say that how you help somebody as a pastor is different than how you help somebody as a boss, and it's different than how you help somebody as a family member. And
yeah.
sometimes the,
And
the the trials that you face can be different too. Like, and to lead and direct, it's different oppositions and positions.
Yep, absolutely. And those relationships, actually got told a story not too long ago. It's like as the train passes over a particular spot, you see all the cracks and everything move. Depending on how close that relationship is, you'll see more and more of the cracks and how they move. And that's especially when we have really close relationships and we live with that person. But unless we have a really strong foundation, you're going to see a lot of friction and seeing where the two worlds collide, essentially.
I think that's
But
also it's also a part of it too. I think when it comes to leadership, a lot of people miss the fact that just because they have a title, it doesn't mean that they're a leader or a boss in that person's life. First, they have to develop
yeah,
the relationship, and they have to have permission to be inside that person's life inside that way. And you don't do that just by bossing them around and giving them commands. You do that by trying to help them. And when they see that you're actually trying to help them, then they're more open to you.
yep, absolutely. And that's having a relationship with them. And Any good business person will look. They unfortunately look a lot of people at like machines, and machines like people. Um, but they always look at, liability, how much investment is going to be reward, and it gets kind of cold. And that's how being of knowledge, but also you have to have feelings as well. And if you're not have a healthy balance of both, you're going to probably be in conflict with yourself.
Yeah,
um,
and it's all about how you view the position that you're in too. You can't view the position that you're in like in a negative way.
Yep, absolutely. And that comes from like, um, there's all different types of work environments, depending if you're doing sales or working in a factory or construction. If you don't know the area and how to do that job, or you're going to be fumbling around and you're going to look out of place, and it becomes very obvious. And that's where it's not necessarily a bad thing to be honest and be like, hey, I don't necessarily know, too much. Just got to be careful about being around certain people.
Yeah,
It's
that's one of the biggest thing. That's one of the biggest things. As I always say, when you're in a leadership position, don't try and act like you know more than what you know. People will see right through it, and that'll just discredit you, and that'll be it. You'll be discredited from that point forward, and the person will know that you're just not really trying to help them because you're not really looking for an answer to their problem, or you're not giving them honest advice.
Yep, absolutely. And real answers to problems really start with um, people evaluating and giving back. The big thing is like using our gifts, and how can we share them with others. I think that's probably some of the best tithing that someone can do, is taking the time, especially with a kid, or teaching them music, or even as small as listening to their Fortnite for about 5 minutes. Um, because,
Or better yet,
that
go play
time.
with them.
Yeah, even better, go play with them, Uh, but that time shared together is probably one of the best things that you can give a person.
Um,
Uh,
yeah, there's another mistake I think that people make too, is that they don't take it and realize that they have to take time and invest in people. So they look at it as, this is a job, this is a responsibility. They don't look at the big picture, or they just don't comprehend like actually the position that they're in for that specific role that they took on. They thought it would just be like more money or whatever, so they took that leadership position rather than realizing all the details of it, or taking the time to find out exactly what it entails to do for the workload.
well, I like. I've been trying to roll that idea around in my head. It's like, the best thing simple I could come up with was creative solutions for stupid problems. Because it's still understanding like your life has to function and stuff like that. But really, the smallest things can have the biggest impact, and that goes both ways. If you're having a rough day and you're in a rush, and someone's an obstacle, instead of maybe if you left 5-10 minutes earlier, or small steps. Be wild for like an hour. It doesn't matter if you're cooking dinner, just or whatever, as long as you're not harming anyone else or yourself and making too much more work for yourself. Be wild. Let go of everything for a minute. You're safe.
Yeah, I think it's also important. It's also important to be available too, and to think about ways you can be available. Being wild might be some of the way to be available. Being available is not just being there in body. You have to be available for the way that they would be perceptive to you being available to them at that time.
Yep, yep, absolutely. Try to meet them on their levels, and find anything to. Really, there's tons of tools and stuff like that, and just starving for interaction. Most of us are just starving for interaction, some kind of conversation, though we're not necessarily sure on how to go about that. Um, and I think that goes into another thing is with relationships. Sometimes there's guilt, and some of the guilt, fear, and betrayal are like some of the hardest things in relationships. Um, very,
Yeah, I think guilt is a relationship killer. I think sometimes, you know, if you feel guilty about what you've done, then it prevents you from being open to the person and talking to the person, especially if you're inside a leadership role. If you know you had a bad day and you said something bad to that person, you feel guilty about it. You might not be able to be an effective leader to that person that particular day, or it might prevent you back being open to the person and being receptacle to the person, and your guilt might even cause you to not be able to properly apologize to the person to fix your issue.
yep. And I think it's I like to consider conversations and relationships kind of like a dance. It takes two to dance, or however many are in the room dancing together. And if you guys are not honest and open, it's going to be a rough journey. You got that static.
Uh,
Yep, it's all right though. Um, it's not too bad. But yeah. So and that's it. Kind of gets down to it's okay to have say no. Having certain boundaries, that though you should respect people, and you know either way, you're loving yourself or loving others. You should do it kind of equally, uh and balanced.
yeah, exactly. I mean, everything has to be equal and balanced and down to it, pretty much. You know.
Yep, yep. But as a leader, you're absolutely right. You have to be able to know all this stuff, and kind of it's a lot of carry around.
Yeah, and then plus, there's more to it too. You have to deal with the load that it entails too. So
Yep.
if you're not, you know, having a good day in an area, you still have to be able to have a good day for somebody else, and you also have to got to set aside maybe the stress and what happened for the other person, because maybe you're leading multiple people. So then you have to be able to set aside the stress so you're fresh for the next.
Yeah, I was living with this one person because I've been around a little bit. I haven't had the best fortunate things around me, so I floated around couch surfing, and I wasn't allowed to have any spiritual space. If I put out a crystal or something like that, you knew it was going to get picked up, and kind of having something like that, I'm like, kind of drove me a little crazy for a minute. And I'm like, okay, how about if I just thought about a spot? I have my objects, I'll keep them put away, but I'll think about it like how it's laid out, and that will be my spot that's safe. And it really starts from being able to find some kind of peace, no matter where you're at. It's one thing to find peace when everything's calm and serene, and you're hearing water, and it's relaxing, and whatever you're doing to relax. But it's another to find peace while the storm is raging outside, and it's rough, and
Yeah,
uh,
that's
it's
yeah. Yeah, there's some good examples of that. I mean, even going back looking at the Bible, it talks about that. Like when Peter was in the boat and the storms were coming and everything, and you know he was walking on water, and all of a sudden he realized he was on the storm, and he fell through. Yeah, it's one thing to look at the storm around you, and then it's another thing to think you can lead through the storm. I mean, I think that applies big time to leadership. I mean, you have to be confident enough that you can lead through the storm. Otherwise, the people around you might be affected as well. If they rely on you to lead through the storm, then you see the storm, you get overwhelmed by the storm, then kind of can all fall apart at that particular moment.
right. And I don't think it's like it is a big. There's always chaos going on. It's you can't predict what's going to blow in, and it always surprises you. But If you really hold on to, your emotions and understand and being able to know who you are and why you're doing it, you can really uh, carry. It's not, I'm spiritual, but I'm not Christian like that. And that what I drive from that story is like really have your eyes set on for you. I like talking about Jesus as literally someone to try to strive for, but knowing you'll never become. It's not about, trying to be holier than thou. It's you are you. You're awesome. You know, if where you're at, try to reflect it on yourself. It's an internal journey. And if you're putting these things on someone else, that's where you get to some ugly matters. And we see that a lot. And it's understanding there is expectations, but understanding as well that these expectations can really tear people down. And we share them with each other.
You don't have expectations of, you shouldn't really have expectations of others because, like you said, it puts pressure on them and everything. But there was a good point you brought up, like thinking that you're holier than now. I think that's the problem
Yeah.
with all kinds of leadership. If you get inside a position like even me as a boss, right, and I'm self-employed, right, in a position saying I have this title and I'm better than you and you're just a grunt, what's going to happen to the workflow and what's going to happen to that employee? They're the ones that's doing the work. Are they going to do the work effectively for me, thinking that I'm a tyrant and a slave driver? And then
Well,
the same thing if you think you're better than somebody else, like what you pointed out with the religion thing. I don't go for that. I don't believe in that stuff.
yeah,
I'm not one of those.
I know.
I'm about as straightforward as it comes. But anyway, besides that point, going back to talking about that. If you feel that way, about it, that's the same thing. I mean,
Yeah.
nobody's gonna want to
And
try
there's
and
the
be.
other side. And there's the other side of it too. Someone really being brave enough to ask for help or just talk about something that's going on that's emotional, or you know that sometimes that's people can relate to that, but also be understanding that you're sharing that space and listen to what maybe they're saying, and take it to heart, and you know see see where it goes. And you'd be surprised. I feel like we have all gifts and we have things to share with people. Um, uh, though people might be busy, they're always looking to share what's going on. And um, my biggest problem is I don't do small talk very well.
I think
Um,
I think small talk leads itself if you sit back and you don't try and take the driver's seat. I think people, like you said, are looking to talk. So you just need to sit there and listen. You don't even really have to say much, and I think they'll tell you a lot more than what you thought that they would tell you.
Absolutely. And uh, I think that's really where the magic God can find is in these mutual spots that we can share, um,
I mean,
and it crosses a lot of different boundaries and climates. It's not about using it; it's about using it on someone else, externally. It's more of self growth.
I did that once myself. I was new in the church. In church, I was still in high school. I hadn't graduated high school yet, back in '99. But anyway, so I talked to somebody, somebody that was this pumping gas, and I told them that hey, we're gonna have this winter service and down the road, there's ice skating and stuff for the kids. So I didn't bring the kids by, and then they told me about their whole life and how they're not a Christian and everything, and then I told them, why don't you just come by and have some fun? And 2 weeks later, they actually joined the church and everything else. So you never know what's gonna happen if you just talk to somebody normally.
Absolutely. And I would say it's not even um, being careful of who you make relationships with and stuff like that, and being able to have healthy boundaries. Because as you interact with someone, you never know who you might. Because I used to do door-to-door sales, and that can be a very ugly environment, knocking on a variety of different doors.
Oh yeah, I did door-to-door sales for Cutco, and then I did door-to-door sales for Verizon business to business. I do business and residential customers, and yeah, you walk into some strange situations sometimes when people let you inside their house. They don't want the sale. It's a little bit weird.
Yep, a little bit weird. And I think that's a big part is follow your gut, be honest with yourself before anything else. Have a little bit of humor if you can, and try to really know why, what, and let go. So, um, let chips fall where they may, right?
Right.
Um, because sometimes things aren't in our control.
I think it's better as a leader if you don't want to control. I think it's better if you let the other person make the decisions for themselves. I mean, I found out that trying to be a dictator to people just doesn't happen. The people have to realize things for themselves in order for anything to happen. If they don't realize it for themselves, they're not gonna really make the effort to make the change or do whatever you want them to do because it has to be something that they want to do.
Right. And I remember like probably one of the hardest jobs I've ever, like door to door sales was one thing, but doing medical insurance claims, you want a job that will rip your heart out and show it to you. That's a good one. Um, because you basically tell people why they went out of network, and it can be very hard on you. Or maybe there was a fault. Oh, file a claim.
Yeah, I was
Been
like
doing
that.
that.
Like that when I worked for the power and gas company. I did collections, and I had to tell them why I was going to shut the electricity off or shut the gas off with them having kids.
Yeah, and I think that's fear that gets into that whole fear thing. Fear is not necessarily bad. It can motivate you. Being hungry, it can be a good motivation. Or any type of hunger. But understanding why you have that hunger probably should be the first question. Um, I thought about doing the algae diet. I hear that you can live off from just algae, but your skin will turn a little different colors.
Yeah, photosynthesis.
Yeah, yeah, I'll start turning into a plant. That'd be kind of cool. Be a tree. Unfortunately, I might become a book.
I think it'd be
That'd be
cool to
kind of
be
cool.
like a chameleon, be able to change into your environment.
Um, but so where were we at? We were talking about relationships, betrayal, um, fear, all these things that really motivate us or can really twist us up inside, and a lot of it is being able to let go is a heart, and forgive is not necessarily forgetting. I really dislike that saying is like just put it in the past. It's like I understand what you're saying, but my experiences are part of who I am. Just a part, not the whole thing.
Yeah, exactly.
So
I mean that's where a lot of Christians forget and get messed up. They think that means that you have to forgive everybody and forget everything and everything like that, but that's not the way it works. I mean, you're supposed to be cautious of people. It says so. It says that you forgive them, right, for their trespasses. But it doesn't say you don't remember that what they did to him.
yeah,
Maybe be a little bit more careful the next time around. You're not supposed to be a doormat.
yeah, exactly. I heard a story not too long ago from someone that they bought a piece of gum for $20 and they only got back a $5 bill and what for some change. And he thought about being violent to him, and it's like, when you really get down to it, is why you do stuff, and if that's your motivation, I guess. But I when I heard this story, I'm like, I'm a bet he's not going to go back to that store again, though.
Yeah, I
You
know, right?
know, but sometimes, and then I hear a whole bunch of different stories. Sometimes you do have to fight for what's yours, and be careful about war. War is very ugly. Um,
Well,
though I
no.
like strategy games, but fighting a battle is I get it, being passionate and driving, but war is, you know, and there is some very hard stuff going on.
I think that maybe some things in life could be used for used for some things for life out of war can be used for learning, for instance, and for goods. And I think sometimes that when people realize what people are willing to fight for, they realize what they can and cannot do, and I think that sets up respect situations for that person in the future. They're going to realize that they have to respect them in this manner because they're not going to take that or tolerate that behavior from them.
Yeah, yeah. That's the whole learning from the past and not so you don't repeat it, and understanding like some of the different tools that were out there for battle are pretty. There's some really ingenious things, but I always get a good giggle when I go into the courthouse or anything like that. They have you take all your weapons, right? Anything that may be a weapon you're not supposed to bring in there. I'm like, I should take out my brain, the most dangerous weapon, that and my heart. Those two things can be really, really dangerous weapons.
Or they just take away
Um,
your cell phone.
take away your cell phone. Yeah, there's a good tool. It, it's wild how far technology has come.
Yeah, it definitely
I,
is. It's just weird. I mean, I don't know why they take away your cell phone nowadays. I mean, it doesn't matter anyway. Or if you have a cell phone or not, you could have a camera inside anything. They're so microscopic. Doesn't even make sense. Do that.
yeah, well, and honestly, most court cases are publicly broadcasted on YouTube. So if you want to sit on court cases, you can actually do that, but it's really boring. Um,
Yeah.
court, nobody really wants to go to court. I don't know many people that like court.
Yeah,
Um,
exactly. Kind of like
and if you
a
do, you know, I mean, maybe if you're a lawyer, I guess you could like court, but
kind of like a Judge Judy kind of thing, right?
yeah, yeah. And I respect, it takes a lot of time. Well, judge, it takes a lot of time to become a judge. And they're a very high station. Talk about titles. Um, I kind of joke about, there's God and then there's the court system. If you get summoned for any reason, might want to show up. Just give it a second thought. Um, but the courts can do a whole bunch of different stuff while you're in court. Um,
Yeah, they definitely can. But that's another thing though. When we're talking about like abusing things and stuff like that, the judges abuse their power a lot. They tend to think that sometimes they could be untouchable, and that's another thing when dealing with like the whole leadership thing. Don't ever get into the position of thinking that you're untouchable.
and I think that's like I'm in court right now, but I give uh, the judge as much respect as I would, anybody. They're like and I'm in their courtroom.
Exactly. Yeah, I'm definitely give them respect and everything. But what I'm saying is, doesn't mean that you have to. I don't know. I mean, yeah, you give them respect, but it doesn't mean that you let them walk all over you either like a doormat.
Yeah, yeah. Well, they want you to kind of have your everything. It's just be forthcoming, show your evidence, and get the hell out of the court. You know, um, resolve your matter. Why are you here? Why can't you resolve this yourself? And it sucks when it can't.
Yeah, I know, but different countries do different things. Like as you know here, yeah, I'm from the states. As you know now, I'm in Germany, so Yeah, they're different here in Germany. So blah 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 blah. Talk for 2 hours, and maybe I'll make a decision. Or come back and talk for another 2 hours. You basically give your whole life story.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know about too much court systems outside of the U.S. Captain Button said something though. One thing I found when I was a witness is that knowing the date and the courtroom is not enough. Find out exactly who and where to ask for and talk to. So you got to exactly know the right question. He's saying it's
Yeah.
like, and then there's the whole. I don't know. I'm not a lawyer. I'm not allowed to give legal advice. I'm not.
Yeah,
This is just my
exactly.
own experiences. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, documents, and talking to the right people, and this audio I have playing is not very good. Just kill that. But yeah, um, be respectful. That's a big thing. You know, be true, be honest as possible. You know,
Yeah. Hey there, Captain Buttons. How you doing? Yeah, I mean, definitely. I mean, but he's right though about knowing who you I mean, okay, that's another thing too. We'll talk about leadership, right? You always want to
yeah,
know. You always want to know the people that you're following. I mean, I look at this from both sides. I mean, I'm self-employed, so I own my own business. I gotta know who my employees are, who I can trust, and what they're capable of doing, what they can do. And then if you look at it from the pastor's point of view, like from the church, you gotta know who your congregation is. Otherwise, how can you help them? How can you minister to them? So it's true inside both ways. You have to know your people, like what he says. You have to know who's there, who you have, who you work with, and what they can, what they need, what they can do, and how you can help them in that day.
absolutely. And that's not how you get to know people is by sharing. Being open and sharing those different parts and being part of their lives. And that gets into the formalities, greeting someone as they, I like to offer you thirsty, you're hungry, when someone comes over, if I have anything to offer, here. That's just me though. Um, Not everyone's like that, but at least offer a glass of water, see how they're doing, if they're visiting, and then play some games or whatever you're doing, and then say farewell. I got to get going. There's nothing wrong with saying, hey, I got to get busy. I have something coming up, or I just need some alone time. There's nothing wrong with that either. Hey, I need some time by myself.
Yeah, exactly. So sometimes people, you just gotta be careful when you say you need your alone time, because you gotta know. This goes back to knowing the person. Because sometimes they can get offensive, right? They think you're trying to ignore them, disrespect them. Yeah, it's hard.
Yeah, yeah, it's very hard. Captain Button said, "No, I walked into a big room with dozens of people in, and had no idea which one I was supposed to tell I was there." So yeah, that I've only been a witness once, um, and it was pretty straightforward. They ask you a few questions, be as honest as possible.
I have to be
You know,
honest. I was asked to be a witness 4 times, but all 4 times I purposely found a way to get out of it. I made it seem like I would be impartial on purpose. I just didn't want to do it.
yeah, that's the other thing. Sometimes the lawyers want to know which way you're going to go, which is kind of, you know, eh, you know. And I'm not a lawyer, but I always like the difference between spirit of the law and the letter of the law. And there's a reason why things are kind of written the way they are. Yeah, and that's about all I'm going to say on that. Um, it's written, kind of vague for a reason, so there can be interpretations, uh, which is a very dangerous thing. It can go either way. Judges should be impartial.
Yeah, they should be, but then that's what I was going back to saying earlier. A lot of times they're not.
Mm.
And sometimes they met with certain officials ahead of time before they even meet with you, so they already have a prejudged determination as far as how they want to go before they even see your face.
Yep, absolutely. So, but that's the whole, justice is blind. Liberty, not Liberty. What's her name? The one holding the scales.
Scales. Oh, the justice person. Yeah, I know who you're
Yeah,
talking about.
yeah.
Yeah.
Technical. The Windows 10 Twitch app does not like Flaming Wings, though Windows 10 via Firefox and the PS4 Twitch app works fine for you. So there's a little bit of feedback. Did not have to testify because they did a plea deal at the last moment. It's very often how it goes to. That was all Captain Bud. Sorry about that.
So by feedback, does he mean like through microphone, or does he mean like by like voice, or by like just the stream, or like?
You're the Windows 10 Twitch app. The Windows 10 app that it comes with Windows does not like your stream. Everything else, Windows 10 via Firefox, the PS4 app, they all work fine. It's just Windows 10 doesn't work. It's great.
Okay.
But,
So how do you fix that?
maybe contacting Microsoft.
Okay.
Good luck.
Okay.
Yeah, even if you are from what I hear, even if you are a big creator, pulling in actually some decent revenue from, good luck getting corps to listen to you. And it's not that the corporation's bad, but there's so many people, and it's a big platform. So.
Yeah, I don't know anything about like the different things. I just think it's weird that streams work somewhere and not someplace else. It must be settings or something.
Might be settings or a refresh rate, might be a possibility. Captain Button says the Twitch app you download and basically you get stuck in the churning wheel loading stage that never ends. It sounds like a cache or a stack issue.
Yeah, okay.
And I assume you tried refreshing it. If you're checking all these platforms, you know about refreshing.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, it sucks when relationships, and it really gets down to either being a leader, almost thought my water fell over. Any relationship, if you betray that trust, or betrayal is probably the biggest thing, that relationship's going to have a very hard time building on that again.
Yes. Yeah.
Betrayal.
Yeah. That's something that you should never do, by the way. I mean, if you, I'm just gonna say it like it's straight up. I'm not even gonna try and sugarcoat it. If you're abusing your position of leadership, just get out. Goodbye.
Yeah. Yep. Absolutely. Why are you doing it then?
And because I mean, all it does is just bring problems anyway, and hurt and stuff, and eventually the truth comes out anyway, and then you're done anyway.
Yeah. Pain. Yep. Tried rebooting and refreshing many times. They said.
Don't know.
But that's not bad though. I mean, nobody uses the Windows 10 apps anyway, right?
Right. And that's probably why, because they have so many problems, right?
Yeah, honestly, and there's a new update coming out pretty soon, from what I hear. A new Windows version. Why do we have to have we just started fixing this one? We got nice drivers.
Yeah, my computer already updated the other day. I don't know what it changed, but it did some kind of update.
Yep. Anytime you start getting updates, just start updating everything else as well. Video card, whatever you have plugged in.
Yeah.
But yeah, Yeah, I think the last thing is just being able to let go, understanding this stuff, and then not beating yourself up over the head with it, and understanding it. Because most of us do understand what we're doing. You know, deep down, people understand what they're doing. They're just justifying it,
Yeah.
which is a very fine line.
Yeah, I mean, you can't justify what you're doing when you know you're doing something wrong. It just doesn't work like that, you know? I mean, but people will try everything in the book, but they gotta understand that the other person knows and smells it, you know? And this isn't gonna happen.
Absolutely. So, yeah, no. But I totally agree with you. Like, money is one of those things that I don't think you could ever get in. Most people can't get enough money. Can't get enough money. Uh,
Yeah, I just never really got into that. I mean, if you're trying to do something just for money, then you're not really a leader anyway. A leader doesn't do something
yeah,
just for money, because a leader has to take care of his people. If you're not taking care of your people and you just want the money, then you're not really being a leader. You're gonna be more like a tyrant or a dictator, or be like, do this because it gives me results, and make impartial judgments and try and make your people work harder and give them bigger workloads.
actually, I just read a book that's kind of about that. It's like why small businesses fail, and a big part of it is where most of us are technicians, and we look at money like another thing to purchase stuff and get this done, and a lot of it is trying to utilize it. Your fan is rough
Yeah,
sometimes.
yeah. I think next time I just put on push to talk. It's okay.
Maybe. Yeah. Oh, thanks. Appreciate it. I'll let you know if it happens again. So if it does, it wasn't the fan.
Okay.
Um, it's something else. Troubleshooting. But yeah, technicians, and I think we all start with a technician. And being a really good leader is uh, about being more of a manager and being understand the different parts. Um, how that's how you're teaching people on their level instead of trying to teach them on yours.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, you gotta reach out to people on their level, take care of them, and help them grow. I mean, the only way you can help somebody grow is by taking them from the known to the unknown. You have to use what they already know and help them go to the place where they don't know. You can't be like, oh, you just have to be here. That's it. Now get there. What good does it do anybody?
Absolutely.
Yes.
It's more of, oh, go ahead.
That's another thing too. The blind man leadership, I call it. It's like you tell people, go cut down this tree. People are like, why? Just do it because I said so. And then they don't know why, so they're not going to do it with motivation. They're not going to have effort behind it, or they're not even going to know what to do. People are motivated when they can see a goal that they're reaching at the end zone, and they know that their efforts are going to help achieve a goal. They have to see the big picture rather than just be like, yeah, just go do this and shut up and do it because I said so.
Yep, absolutely. And it never really works either. Most people, like bucking the system, you know. Um, but it gets into why you're doing it. What's the purpose and reasoning behind it. Kind of like the story I told you the other day. I was I'm a minister as well, but I think I'm a different type of minister. I never made a business out of it or have a nonprofit organization. I literally give in my time and do marriages for literally practically nothing compared to everyone else. But uh, I used to be kind of more gung ho about it for a minute because I was still, even, you know me, I read a lot of books. But Yeah, that static's still going on. I'm not sure what's causing it though. Um,
It must be the fan because you can hear the fan running in the computer.
mm, but yeah, and I think a big part of it is just
Yeah.
oh well.
Yeah, I think like a big part of it is like people don't know their own direction. So like if they're a leadership, you gotta have a vision. And I think most leaders don't have a vision. I think most leaders are just like my boss said to do this, so we do this. But they have to have a vision in order to lead others successfully. Because they have other people have to be able to see your vision. Otherwise, it's just blind leadership. So you got the big person up there going going, hey, let's do this, let's do this thing, and then this leader is doing this thing, but the team doesn't really see the big person. It sees the person that's going off of this thing, and then this person just doesn't really know because they have to be like, oh, let me ask him about everything because it's micromanagement, right? If you don't give your leadership freedom to lead, they can't lead. You have to be able to give people freedom and train people and trust people to lead. Otherwise, it's always like, oh, I don't know, let me ask the next guy, and then there is no vision, no clear picture.
Yep, absolutely. And part of that is called delegating, delegating responsibilities instead of um, over managing, being that hawk over. You're not doing like I would do it, and being able to break things down into small parts. So simple ideas that anyone can do it instead of. You ever heard of the term word vomit?
Yeah, just say things and it doesn't even make sense.
It doesn't even make sense. Yeah, we start baffling them. That used to be, what was it? There's another older term. Um, but I never really.
I call it diarrhea of the mouth.
Yeah, yeah, diarrhea of the mouth. It's literally, or here's another one. You'll find this in role playing. Someone verbally masturbating. Um,
Okay.
basically, they were basically talking only to be talking,
Okay.
and
Tuning their own horn.
tooting their own horn. And you'll see this happen because the DM will have an NPC that will be with the party, that will be the fixer that fixes all the problems that were created. Ta-da! And then you have the Goku syndrome. It's like everybody's standing there. It's like, look at him go. You know.
Thank you,
Um,
Priscilla, for subscribing. Nice to see you. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I don't know. It's just like I guess it's like that. Like any game you play, like you have somebody that wants to be the leader all the time and tell everybody else what to do, and then they always want to complain and say you messed this up, you did this up wrong, and then now it's your fault and blah 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 blah. Yeah, it just gets nowhere. It just turns out to be blah 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 blah.
absolutely. Or my biggest problem is I play a different kind of character. I couldn't really care about the grinding or even killing my character. It will be in a splatter of glory, And most people are like, "No, we gotta, go back this way," But I'm not being annoying at the same time. I'm just being funny, and it's natural a lot of times. So I like it, and I can play a variety of different D&D characters. Um, but Captain Button said something funny. If you can't amaze them with brilliance, baffle them with bullshit.
Yeah, it seems like people are more
Um,
attracted to stupidity nowadays anyway than logic.
it's an easy answer. I mean, I like humor in a different regard. Um, it humor seems to be a way to talk about something that is kind of controversial, but make it funny to a certain point. And everyone kind of goes, "Ah, yeah, I suck at humor." Just to say that I'm not very good at it. At least trying. I'm not very good with bits. That and I'm a horrible liar. My face is pretty transparent.
Yeah, I mean, I don't see a point. I don't see a point in just feeding out lies and bullshit to people anyway.
Well, the ones that it really bothers me sometimes when people even lie to themselves, but we do lie to ourselves sometimes so we can do certain things, because you ever heard of perfectionism? Everybody is their own worst critic. No matter how much you do, you still feel like you didn't do enough. You're still not there, which is fine to have passion and stuff, but don't let it destroy you at the same time, right?
Right, exactly.
It's because if you're destroying yourself, that's not really the purpose, because then you're not going to be continued to carry what you're doing. It's that very fine line, but you shouldn't live in the laps of luxury either, and separate yourself from everyone. That was kind of defeating the purpose. That's more of a corporation, I don't know. It's business and politics, very dangerous. Business, politics, and religion, very dangerous. Words.
Mm.
Talk.
That's another thing
I
too.
know.
Is like when you're a leader, how do you keep people focused, right? I mean, you see this a lot at work. They want to discuss religion, politics, and blah 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 blah, and then it turns into a heated discussion, and then it causes problems with inside work and everything else. And then you see, like it's a setting. How do you keep people within the restraints of the settings? I guess so that way it doesn't just cause useless problems.
I think a lot of it have to do. Me being spiritual, I believe a lot of ourselves are reflected in the things we do as a whole and as an individual. Um, so the whole inner temple and knowing yourself is very important. Um, and I think there's just been this relationship for a while between advertising and how sexualized a lot of advertising is in culture.
Yes, yeah, I think people just like to go ahead and do that
As I'm
stuff.
doing this right here, which is kind of like one of the new memes.
There you go. Yeah,
Um,
sword fighting or what? Yeah.
it's a TikTok thing. You see a lot of the uh, girls with ears and stuff do that.
Okay.
Yeah,
What is it?
extreme.
Okay.
Anyways, where I'm getting is a lot of people, we can't really talk about sex. I don't want in open company, because a lot of people will consider it, either become flushed in the face or stuff like that. But at the same time, it's completely okay to express yourself in a variety of different manners. I think the biggest problem is when we put these things on other people as well. It gets very dangerous territory, and that's what we're coming up to right now.
Yeah.
I think I opened a can of worms right there, kind of leaving it open though, because I have friends that, um, close friends of mine, that are in a variety of different communities, and
Well, I mean, I don't know. I think everybody's got the look at me syndrome. That's what I call it. And everybody wants to try and compete and be the best and be like blah 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 blah. This is my viewpoint and it's better than your viewpoint. And if you don't respect it, then you're a hater. But that doesn't necessarily make you a hater. It just means that you have a difference of opinion. But you want to call them a hater, just shut them up because it doesn't suit your needs.
absolutely. And I just did one of the memes. Is like, I'm offended. It's okay to not be like what someone else likes. It's completely okay, uh, and if it's being put in your face and you don't like it, draw your boundaries. But doesn't mean you have to abandon people either. You know, I have some friends of mine that I can only take in small doses. Some family I can only take in small doses. But that's about as close as I want to get into that, is because it's not that I don't love them. Um, because I love them, I take them in small doses, but I'm still there for you. So it's that fine line, that balance between,
Yeah, it's between, seeing, I don't know, seeing who's worth your time and who's not, I guess.
that's the business side of it, potential risks and stuff like that, but also not being so removed and that you become cold and detached, because that's the other side of it's everything we do is our thoughts and our emotions, and we tend to swing back and forth between the two. Our thoughts depict our emotions, and our emotions depict our thoughts. So, but that's a personal, like totally a personal journey. And I'm not a big fan of manipulation. I was talking with another friend of mine that was saying, well, either in any relationship or any conversation you have, you're either the manipulator or the manipulatee. And it's a very strategic way of looking at it. But they're not very fun conversations. So I like to look at it as a dance. Being able to give yourself and share your experiences and try to do that the best of your ability, and letting go. And, it comes from working on yourself and giving that out and going through the steps and really yeah, I don't even know what to say it, but it's that.
Yep, exactly. Yeah, I think that it's like that too. I mean, it just doesn't really, I don't know. Maybe it just doesn't really jive, right, with people or whatever. You know what I mean? Stuff like that.
Well, and that's the fine line where I see people really struggle with it is when there is, very little things to relate with. There's little area there to relate with, and it becomes very difficult to have any relationship with them. But that's where we need to stop maybe being so, I don't know how to put it, give room for a relationship to be if that's what you want in your life, because you have to, it's a healthy mix.
Yeah, it's a healthy mix.
Yeah, good conversation. Good relationships, and we talked about leadership and the fan.
Oh well, I guess everybody's gonna have a fan in their life.
Yeah.
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 There's worse things. And yeah.
Yeah, there's definitely worse things in life,
Most definitely. And everybody needs a fan. And maybe that's a good moral to kind of lead. Talk to someone like you're a fan of them. You're like, hey, what are you? That's so cool. Try to relate with them, and you never know. You might find you have more in common than you thought.
Yeah, exactly.
But do it in a safe manner. Be safe.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you for talking with me, Chris. I do appreciate it. I know you're super busy. You got all that, a lot of stuff going on, and it's awesome what you do.
Okay. Yeah, thank you for taking time. Yeah.
Maybe next week we'll see. We'll talk some more. I'm going to try to stream some more as well.
Alright.
You also do streams at Fire and Flame. I had a bot set up, but it didn't go off. But if you look them up. It's Flaming Wings and Swords, right?
Right. Flaming Wings and Swords.
Okay. I'll have it eventually in my brain, and I will never be able to forget it. So.
Yeah.
But take care, guys. We're gonna raid someone real quick,
Alright.
and